The queen of rap, or in this case New York in particular, has been something that's been contested for a long time now. I've said it before and I say it again. Rap beef ain't just a man's sport. What caused one of the biggest beefs for female rappers in New York since Lil Kim and Foxy Brown? Let's dive right in. Bronx representative Remy Smith, aka Remy Ma, got her start when she met fellow Bronx rapper Big Pun, who showed her the ropes and introduced her to another Bronx rapper, Fat Joe, who formed the group Terror Squad, which she became a member of and was heavily featured on their second album, True Story, including the hit single Lean Back, released in 2004, before releasing her solo debut album, There's Something About Remy, based on a true story, in 2006. She was then sent to prison over a shooting involving a woman and some money that was allegedly stolen. She was sentenced to 8 years and was let out early after serving over 6. Queen's own Nicki Minaj, aka Nicki Minaj, got her break in music when she signed to the group Full Force and joined the group The Hood Stars before later on signing to Big Fendi's Dirty Money record label, releasing her solo debut mixtape Playtime Is Over in 2007, and then meeting Lil Wayne and signing to Cash Money Young Money. That Playtime Is Over mixtape is where the drama between the two first began. On the mixtape is a freestyle by Nicki Minaj over the beat from the Terror Squad song Yeah 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 from their album True Story. She starts the freestyle off with a line about a woman with a crown, which is considered a diss to Remy Ma, and the first shot thrown in the beef. At the time of the release of the mixtape, Remy was at the height of her career following the release of the TS album and her own solo debut album. She was nominated for a Grammy along with Fat Joe for Lean Back, and won the award for Best Female Hip Hop Artist at the 2005 BET Awards, as well as being nominated in 2006. However, like I mentioned earlier, Remy went to prison shortly afterwards, which would leave a glaring hole in female rap, for New York in particular. Taking shots at a bigger, more established artist has been a thing that a lot of rappers have done to get noticed in the industry. According to an interview that Remy Ma had while in prison, she confronted Nicki Minaj during her mixtape release party about the line from the freestyle, and Nicki told her that it wasn't about her, but Remy still considered it a shot, but was not necessarily angry about it, as that's just essentially part of the competitive nature of rap, and that she would get her back for the line when she gets out of prison.
Try to put us against each other and make it seem like I'm not gonna lie, like when she came out, she had did a freestyle over the Yeah 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 beat. And she said, damn, I don't remember what she said, the exact line, but she said something like, tell a chick with the crown and running like Chris Brown. When I seen that at her party, I was like, yeah, what was that line about? Like, I brought it up to her or whatever. Like, I don't know, to this day, I think it was a stab at me. I'm gonna get you back for that, by the way. But it's cool, like, that's what you do in rap, and I'm cool with that.
Also in 2007, footage was released of a woman going by the name of Nicki talking about how she had previously been sexually involved with Remy Ma in the past. In the video, she also calls someone who she claims was Remy. This would lead many to believe that the woman in the video was Nicki Minaj. However, a few things were off with what the person said, such as them claiming to be from the Bronx like Remy, while Nicki Minaj was actually born in Trinidad and Tobago and raised in Queens. According to a Vlad TV interview of Cliffy Bars, the man behind the footage, it was recorded around 2004 and wasn't released until December of 2007, and he didn't even know who Nicki Minaj was until later on, and also states that he doesn't know if that woman was indeed Nicki Minaj or not. Remy denied these allegations when asked about it during interviews while she was still in prison. Some years went by while Remy was in prison, and Nicki was out making more of a name for herself. She released her first 2 albums, Pink Friday and Pink Friday Roman Reloaded, as well as featuring on the Young Money compilation album We Are Young Money, all of which featured hit singles, and she won several awards along the way. Also in various interviews, Nicki would name Remy Ma as an influence to her and also say things like,
shout out to Remy. Free Remy. Word. You know what? Free Remy. Fuck you. Free Remy.
As Remy was still in prison. Fast forward to August 2014, when Remy was released, she had an interview on Hot 97 and was asked about having a conversation with Nicki. She stated that she was going to keep the conversation private and that she doesn't want to tear her down.
What was that conversation about? Like, what did you guys share? Did she share any, like, industry insights, business insights?
I think that I would like to keep that conversation private, because that's what it was. It was a private conversation. What I can say is that she's a wonderful woman, and she's on the same page with me, like that there's no need to try to tear somebody down. I can say what I said. You know, I let her know that I'm super proud of her.
So you might think that things were cool between the two, but apparently not, as now the disses began to go back and forth. In December that year, Nicki released her 3rd album, The Pink Print. That album featured the hit single Truffle Butter, featuring Drake and Lil Wayne, which a few months later, Remy Ma released her own version of. Throughout the song, several subliminal shots are thrown at Nicki, for example, lines like, "I will kill these pop hoes," which you could assume is a shot at Nicki and all her pop hits she had released recently. Or lines like, "You should join a rap group because as a soloist you're boring," which is ironic considering Nicki came from a rap group before she went solo. However, after joining Young Money, she featured on several hit songs with other big artists like Wayne, Drake, and Eminem. This wouldn't be the first time Remy was rapping over the beat to a Nicki Minaj single though. A few months prior, she also rapped over the beat to Only, another single from Nicki's Pink Print album. However, this track didn't seem to have any disses to Nicki like the previously mentioned track did. Then the next year, in 2016, Nicki Minaj won Best Female Rapper of the Year again at the BET Awards, as she's done since 2010, and Remy Ma sent out a tweet congratulating her. Once again, things seem pretty chill. However, a few months later, during the BET Hip Hop Awards, Remy Ma spit a verse during a cypher that people took as a diss towards Nicki. Then in August, Remy Ma did a freestyle on the beat of Young Ma's hit single, Ooh, and had some generally vicious lines. But the lines, "getting more money than the government, why she can't make another hit, scared to come out, I got him on punishment," can be seen as another subliminal diss to Nicki. About 2 weeks later, in September, Nicki then released the Pink Print freestyle, which had her rapping over the beat for Ooh as well, and had lines talking about someone talking about her in the past tense and throwing shade, which can easily be seen as a shot at Remy considering the tension between the two and the fact that she rapped over the same beat Remy had just done recently. Then in October, Nicki Minaj had an interview with Hot 97, and when asked about a collaboration with Remy Ma, she stated that she originally wanted to have Remy Ma on a song for the Pink Print album, and Foxy Brown was going to be on it as well, but that it never came to fruition. Pink Print released a few months after Remy was released from prison, so it would have been possible to do, but a little more on that in a minute. Then in November, Fat Joe and Remy Ma released the single Money Showers, which will be the third single from the collaboration album, Plata o Plomo. In Remy's verse, she sends more subliminal shots at a woman who has been claiming she's the queen, once again seen as a diss towards Nicki. Both of them had been claiming to be the queen of rap for several years now at this point. For example, on Remy's debut album, she has a track titled I'm, and on that track she ends her first verse with the lines, "I'm the queen of rap, and there is none higher, and all you slut-bag whores should call me sire." Only a few days after Money Showers was released, Nicki Minaj released her remix to the hit single Black Beatles by Ray Shremmerd featuring Gucci Bang, titled Black Barbies. On that track, she sends more shots at a woman she's beefing with, for example with lines like, "Who the F is gonna protect her if I really gotta check her?" Now, the disses from Nicki Minaj you could say are a bit more up in the air for who they're about specifically, as at this time she was also beefing with Lil' Kim as well. But given the fact that this was released so shortly after Remy had allegedly dissed her, it makes sense to consider it a response to Remy, especially given the line talking about the woman in question having a hit record. Earlier that year, Remy and Fat Joe released the track All the Way Up, which was indeed a hit and the first single from their album. Then in November, in an interview with Wrap Up TV, Remy talked about the supposed Nicki Minaj collab and why she turned down the song, stating that it just didn't make sense at the time and that combination isn't something she felt people would want to hear.
No, that was never recorded. She actually, when we discussed this, she was like, "Don't tell anybody, it was top secret." So the fact that she actually disclosed that information is beyond me. I mean, but I don't think that's what people wanted to hear, you know, that combination. That was just my personal decision, so I didn't want to do that.
Later that month, Remy appeared on a remix to the hit single Wait a Minute by Fresher, and on her verse, once again shots are thrown with lines like "Get rid of those fake breasts," and "that ghostwriter about to call her, that lifeline getting shorter." It's pretty clear that this is yet again a shot to Nicki. At this time, she had already broken up with her longtime boyfriend and fellow Hood Stars member, Safari. Safari, in an interview with This Is 50, stated that he helped Nicki write all of her rap songs.
Out of curiosity for the people that's asking about how many records would you say that you've touched on? Creatively supported, however the word, because they gonna go crazy on write, this, that. How many records were you a part of the creation?
Anything that had to do with rap.
Sheesh.
I'm saying if it's like, unless it's some like singy girly shit or whatever, then right. Other people, it's whatever, you know. But anything that's bars and all of that shit, and just when it comes to the rap shit, like it's what I do, you know what I'm saying? And everybody gets help.
He even had a lawsuit against her about it, but wound up dropping it eventually. Also around this time, Safaree posted a picture of him, Remy Ma, and Papoose together with a caption calling Remy the Queen of New York. Then shortly afterwards in December, Remy and her husband Papoose had an interview with Funkmaster Flex from Hot 97 and they both freestyled. During Remy's freestyle, she had a few lines that seemed to be taking shots at Nicki once again. For example, with lines like, "All this talk about my son and your son, I'm hot and your whole world around me, I'm the son." Nicki Minaj is known for her lines involving various ways to call someone her son. Then in February 2017, Remy and Fat Joe went down to the Breakfast Club for an interview, and Remy was asked about her feelings on the media claiming her freestyles and songs are about a particular female, namely Nicki Minaj. Remy responded by telling them that she has no problems with saying names, essentially indirectly saying that she hasn't been dissing Nicki.
Now you tired every time you drop a freestyle, they think it's going towards a particular female or particular person.
I am absolutely
It's always
tired
Nicki.
of every time I drop a freestyle. Are
That's
you
what they
talking
always
about
say.
Nicki Minaj?
Yep.
Are you?
And then when she does one back, they be like, "Oh, she's getting at Remy."
But this is the thing with people, and I try to explain it in the nicest way possible. If you look at the history of Remy Ma, whenever I've had a problem with any female in the entire game,
You say their name.
I will say your name.
Yeah.
I do not want you sitting there thinking like, "Oh my God, is she talking about me?" You think she's talking about? I'm going to say your government. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to say your mother's name, your father's name, your kid's name. Like, I want you to know that I'm talking about you.
Given all those subliminals before this though, what would you think? Shortly afterwards, 2 tracks featuring Nicki were released. Those being the Jason Derulo single Swalla, which also features Ty Dolla $ign, and Gucci Mane's Make Love from his album Mr. Davis. On Swalla, Nicki drops the line, "I gave these chicks 2 years, now your time's up. Bless her heart, she throwing shots, but every line sucks," which is considered a shot at Remy Ma, since at this point, Remy had been released from prison for at least 2 years. Also, Nicki's last album at this point was released in December 2014, once again a little over 2 years. Then on her verse on Make Love, several subliminal shots were thrown again at another female rapper. Due to the shots thrown from Remy beforehand, many believe that it was in retaliation to her, but with lines like, "She ain't eating, but I swear she got some bum-ass taste. Text her man like, dog, how that bum-ass taste. Pay your rent and stay in your bum-ass place." Some people came to the conclusion that the verse is about Azealia Banks, who had recently made a post on social media coming at Nicki. The line is considered by some to be a reference to Azealia Banks' debut album, Broke with Expensive Taste, released back in 2014. It is plausible, but with Nicki having had beef with multiple female rappers around this time, it is a bit up in the air like I said before. However, one of the next lines in the verse speaks about this artist having a sole platinum plaque. Remy Ma at this point only had 1 platinum plaque, and that was for the hit single All the Way Up, released a year prior. Azealia Banks also had only 1 platinum plaque, and that was for her debut single 212, which was initially released in 2011 and featured on her debut EP 1991, as well as her debut album. What do you say? Is the verse at Remy? Azealia Banks? Both? Considering the line 1 platinum plaque album flopped, I'm more inclined to believe it is a shot at Remy, as her and Joe's album Plata o Plomo only went gold despite their first single from it going platinum. Also, 212 went platinum in the UK, not the US. Either way you interpret it, it was a diss though, and speaking of disses, Remy Ma released a diss track, a very direct one at that, right around this same time. That being Sheether, which was a brutal diss almost 7 minutes in length over the beat from Nas's diss track towards Jay-Z titled Ether from his Stillmatic album. For more on the details of the Jay-Z and Nas beef, go check out the video on the channel after this. Sheether was a long verse of vicious verbal assaults directed at everything from Nicki's cosmetic surgery, her personality, her relationship with Meek Mill, her record label contract, and more. Several shots are thrown at her for having ghostwriters like Drake, Lil Wayne, and Safaree, and Remy claims that Nicki can't be the queen of rap because of that. Another one of the more devastating lines is Remy speaking on the allegations that were going on at the time against Nicki's older brother Jelani and his child sexual assault case. The artwork for the song is also very directly aimed at Nicki. She also tweeted it out and tagged Nicki Minaj on Twitter to make no mistake that her target would see it. As she said in that Breakfast Club interview, she definitely named names. About a week later, while waiting for a response from Nicki, Remy released the song Another One, which as you can assume is yet another diss track to Nicki. The artwork once again took very direct shots at her too. The song and its release was done in a similar manner to how Drake dissed Meek Mill back in 2015 with the back-to-back releases of Charged Up and Back to Back. On the track, Remy uses a similar cadence and beat to Back to Back, making the diss track hit even closer to home, considering the seemingly close relationship Drake and Nicki had, and the romantic relationship that Nicki had at the time with Meek Mill as well, who was on the receiving end of the diss tracks by Drake. Remy takes shots at Nicki here mainly for her lack of a response after a few days of waiting. Shortly after releasing the track, she appeared on the Wendy Williams show with Fat Joe and was asked about the diss track by Wendy, and she explained the reason for the diss track was not because of the subliminal lines from Nicki, but because of the behind the scenes things that Nicki was doing to her and other women in the industry, like making phone calls to try to get them removed from certain events. She also dressed in all black, which she said was for the funeral, essentially saying she killed Nicki Minaj with the diss track. Shortly after this, Remy also appeared on a podcast with BuzzFeed and spoke about the beef as well, in which she said she doesn't regret the diss track but isn't exactly proud of it either, and that it bothers her that a diss track she made went viral when essentially her and Nicki could have made a song together instead and had the same reach. Then in March, 3 singles were released by Nicki on the same day, those being Changed It featuring Lil Wayne, Regretting Your Tears, which was a song that addressed her breakup with Meek Mill, and No Frauds, featuring Lil Wayne and Drake, which on her verse, she disses Remy. She still doesn't mention Remy by name, but the subliminal shots where you question who the hell is talking about who are pretty much out the window for this one. Throughout her verse on No Frauds, she responded to Sheether with lines talking about Remy being a felon, shooting her friend over some money, and going to prison. She also claims that Papoose is Remy's ghostwriter and even claims Remy to have had cosmetic surgery as well. She also essentially claims to be the better artist with lines like, "They say numbers don't matter, but when they discussing the Kings, they turn around and say LeBron ain't got 6 rings," in response to Remy talking about Nicki's record sales on Sheether. No Frauds was a hit record, but as a response to Sheether, many felt that it was lacking, especially due to the fact that, like the other shots that Nicki had thrown at Remy, there were other artists on the songs. To further bring her to Remy, however, Nicki even includes Ra Ali, a close friend of Remy who has also appeared on the reality show Love and Hip Hop New York with her in the video, specifically at the last line of her verse when she makes a reference to Remy trying to get cosmetic surgery to look like Ra. Also on the track Changed It, Nicki sent a shot at Remy with lines like, "I'm doing it for fun, I am the first number, tell them chicks I won, this hoe getting slick, so I put on gym shoes and extended my run." Once again, a subliminal diss, but given the fact that these songs dropped on the same day, who do you think she was talking about? The disses continue though. In May, Katy Perry released the single Swish Swish featuring Nicki Minaj. On the song, Nicki throws more shots at Remy on her verse with the lines, "Don't be trying to double back, I already despise you, all that fake love you showing couldn't even disguise you. Ran, went, Nicki getting that tan, mirror mirror, who's the fairest chick in all the land? Damn man, this chick is a stan. Mwah, mwah, a generous queen will kiss a fan." The fake love possibly being a reference to Remy Ma sending out a congratulatory tweet to Nicki the previous year, and the generous queen is a reference to the previous diss track she released, No Frauds. Then in June, Remy Ma did a remix of Future's hit single, Mask Off, and on it seemingly took shots at Nicki Minaj as well as Ra with lines like, "Pulled up, riding in the range, you know you winning when your enemies is gang. Fake models, hoes getting cute, don't hang yourself trying to be up in the loop." Considering Ra's appearance in the No Frauds video recently, it can be easily seen as a shot at her. Shortly afterwards, at Summer Jam 2017, Remy Ma brought several female rappers up on stage to perform like Lil Kim and Queen Latifah, and then afterwards performed Sheether. Later that month, 2 Chainz released the album Pretty Girls Love Trap Music, which features the song Realize featuring Nicki Minaj. On her verse, she also disses Remy once again quite directly with lines like, "My own too, what I stood on, that's why the next one I'm keeping my foot on. I've been winning 8 years consistently, at least respect it. Papoose wrote an Ether record, but I broke a Aretha record." Pretty self-explanatory, but once again claiming that Remy's husband Papoose wrote Sheether. Around this time, DJ Khaled put out his 10th album, Grateful, which includes the song I Can't Even Lie, featuring Future and Nicki Minaj. On that song, she sends shots at Remy once again with lines like, "Keep your man off my Instagram, chick, 99 problems but ain't one a damn chick." That being a reference to how some months prior Papoose was allegedly caught checking out Nicki Minaj's Instagram account, as it was seen that he had liked a comment by another user that was left on one of her posts. Later that month, Remy Ma won Female Artist of the Year at the BET Awards, putting a stop to Nicki's winning streak, and when accepting the award she said, "Are you done?" which is the first line Remy said from Sheether. During that speech, she also rapped some lines from the song Spaghetti, featuring Kent Jones, which is also from the Plata o Plomo album. Part of that verse is also from the 2016 BET Cypher verse Remy did. So with that being said, that would appear to be a diss as well. Also notable is that Nicki didn't make an appearance at the awards show. Then at the 2017 NBA Awards, Nicki Minaj performed her verses from Realize and Swish Swish, as well as No Frauds, perhaps in response to Remy doing the same thing with her diss at an award show. In August that year, London on the Track released the song No Flag featuring 21 Savage, Offset, and Nicki Minaj. Once again, Nicki used her verse to send shots at Remy Ma with the lines, "They know my name ring bells so they still press. Say the queen name so you can get some ill press." Once again, probably self-explanatory, but Remy got more press when she dissed Nicki. However, as it goes to subliminals, some would argue that this verse was instead aimed at Cardi B. Then in October that year, the hit single Motorsport was released by the Migos featuring Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, who were also beefing with each other as well. On Nicki's verse, shots are clearly thrown at another female rapper, but due to the multiple ongoing beefs at the time, it's a bit harder to tell exactly which one she was aiming at. However, considering the fact that Cardi B is also on the song and how they had recently started beefing at the time, it's considered by many to be a Cardi B diss again. Also, it was later discovered that Nicki's original verse on the song even mentioned Cardi B by name, but she had to change her verse and remove her name. However, there are lines in here that can be interpreted as shots at Remy as well. Then in November 2017, Remy Ma made an appearance at the Breakfast Club again, and she was asked about a song that she did with Lil Kim that was allegedly a diss track to Nicki. Remy denied it being a diss track, however. That song was Wake Me Up, which has Remy rapping and Lil Kim on the chorus. The second verse of the song sounds like a diss to Nicki, however, with the lines, "You fake ass chick, you owe homage, pay that ish, spray that fifth, the crown, I'ma take that ish, cause you a clown and hope we don't play that ish. See, they ain't slick, we talking all Crayon-ish, and then you see them, they be like, they ain't say that ish." The last line in particular, a reference to when Remy asked Nicki about that freestyle back in 2007 being about her. Lil Kim, however, on her own interview at Hot 97, would also say that she wasn't dissing Nicki in the song, but that she only did the chorus and the bridge, and she doesn't know if Remy was dissing Nicki with her verses. The back and forth continued throughout interviews and whatnot, and then some months later in April 2018, Nicki released two new singles, Barbie Tings and Chun Li, which were included on her fourth album, Queen, released a few months later. On Barbie Tings, Nicki takes shots at another female rapper with lines like, "It's time to make hits and it's time to diss. How you still dissing? Still can't find some hits? Was it worth it, dummy? I ain't mad a bit. Still on that show getting no chips. Time to dip." At this time, Remy Ma had been on Love and Hip Hop New York for a few years, and this would seem to be a clear reference to that. Then on Chun Li, she sends subliminal shots at another artist again with lines like, "Dunked on him, now I'm swinging off the rim. Chick ain't coming off the bench while I'm coming off the court fully drenched. Here goes some haterade, get your thirst quenched." Which could be seen as a diss to Remy Ma being a bench player as she's not selling as much as Nicki, and a hater because of her success. However, as I mentioned previously, this could also be a shot at Cardi B, or even both, as Nicki was involved in beef with more than just one female rapper at the time still. After this, the disses on Wax died down a bit, and at some point the tension between the two seemed deflated. In December of 2020, on an episode of State of the Culture, Remy came to the defense of Nicki after she came at fellow co-host Joe Budden when he was a guest on her Queen radio show. Then in February 2022, TMZ called up with Remy outside in New York and asked her a few questions, including if she would be willing to squash things with Nicki Minaj. To which Remy responded saying that she doesn't have issues with anyone and she's just chillin'. Then in March, she was on the Drink Champs podcast and was asked by Nori about her relationship with Nicki Minaj, and she states that she's had conversations with Nicki in the past, and that they had a conversation in particular talking about how people will assume they're talking about each other in their verses, but to agree to not speak about one another. And she again reiterates that she has no problem with someone claiming themselves as number one, as is what you're supposed to do as a rapper, but that she didn't like all the behind the scenes things that were going on between her and Nicki.
I just always felt like anything I say, people gonna say I'm talking about her. Anything she say, people gonna say I'm talking about me. So let's make an agreement that we never talking about each other. Like you so like any.
This is you telling her that?
Yeah, the conversations. It's not even just telling. It's like a conversation, a back and forth.
Right.
And
I feel like any woman should. You're supposed to feel like you should. You're supposed to get on a song and be like, yeah, I'm number 2 or I'm number 3. Like, no, you're supposed to talk like you that bitch and you the shit. Just let's never let it get there. And it was just certain shit that transpired behind the scenes, messages that I seen that I know wasn't like, you know, fabricated. And I was just like nah, like, cause.
Shortly after the episode aired, Nicki Minaj refuted what Remy said in the interview, stating that she's never had that conversation with anyone. At that same time, Nicki also released a single titled We Go Up, featuring Fabio Foreign, which features the lines, "After all that surgery, you're still ugly." Now that is what gets me. Once again, this is another line which can be considered at Remy or Cardi, considering they both allegedly have had cosmetic surgery. Some fans speculate that it was directed at Cardi, but just like some of the other subliminal lines, you interpret it as you will. That's the problem with subliminal lines. They sometimes fit more than just one person. Either way, the beef has once again been calmed down between Remy and Nicki, but things can always pick back up later on. Though hopefully they don't, as personally, I think both of these women are good at what they do and have their own lanes and fan bases in rap. There's definitely room for more than one female rapper to have a spotlight. I think they both had some pretty good bars at one another and a whole lot of subs, which I'm not personally a big fan of, but that's how a lot of rap beefs go, it seems. What do you think about the beef between Remy Ma and Nicki Minaj? As always, remember to hit that like button, consider subscribing if you haven't done so yet, become a channel member to support the channel further, and join the Discord server if you want to chill and talk about music and all that. I'll catch you guys in the next video.